The Blood album from AFI is the 10th studio album that we get from the band, and we have been waiting a long time for this album since Burials came out in 2013. This has been about 3 years, almost 3 years since we've heard from the band. Now, they've been doing other projects in the works, like Davey Havok and Jade did Extremis, as well as there was another Black Audio album, which I reviewed last year, but this is the first AFI album that we've gotten in quite some time, and it's interesting to see how they've kind of improved themselves over time and over Burials. A lot of the criticisms that have come from their previous two albums, Crash Love and Burials, both albums that I actually particularly enjoyed, especially Crash Love, is that it wasn't anything like their previous work. Even it wasn't anything like Sing the Sorrow or even December Underground, and a lot of the fans who kind of came up during that era were disappointed in hearing what they kind of sounded like. And I felt like the band kind of tried new things with Crash Love and with Burials. Crash Love kind of stripped back all the electronic work of December Underground and gave us a more pure AFI experience. It was dark in a lot of ways, which I felt like under the surface. Burials brought a lot of the theatrics back that was kind of missing in Crash Love, but there in Sing the Sorrow, for instance, that was definitely something that Burials brought back to the table, and I felt like a lot of people kind of gravitated towards that. It was also a kind of transition back into where we got some more rougher vocals from Davey Havok. He didn't scream pretty much at all on Crash Love, which I think some people kind of were missing, especially people who came up with December Underground, for instance, were kind of looking for less clean vocal work on there. And if that's where your take is, that's fine. This album doesn't have any screaming on it, but there's definitely more harsher vocals overall, which I'll kind of get into on here. Now, it's definitely more of a hard rock or alternative rock album. It doesn't go back as far as, say, Art of Drowning or Black Cells in the Sunset, but it does feel a lot more like they've reached into their past a bit and kind of brought in some of those elements and kind of gone back to the Sing the Sorrow era of things with the theatrics and with the electronic work that's there but not overpowering, as well as the moodiness of it all, which was kind of something that was a bit lacking in Crash Love, at least on the surface. It was there in Burials, generally speaking. Burials' main issue was it was a little bit all over the place. It wasn't quite as cohesive of an album as they had done in the past, and the Blood album definitely kind of fixes that or corrects that. It really just kind of catches you right from the moment it starts, and it doesn't actually have an intro track similar to Crash Love, which had this first song, which was the Torch song. There's a little bit of a brief moment of an intro, but not so much. This album with Dark Snow just goes right into the song, and it is a great song. It's got some pretty heavy synth work on there, which I think actually suits the song here and sets that mood and sets that atmosphere for the song. It's not overpowering. It doesn't feel too busy or anything like that, and I think that's kind of indicative of the entire album overall. It kind of does set the tone for that there is that electronic work in here, but it's not overpowering. It doesn't kind of ruin the mood or anything like that. The song Still a Stranger is probably one of my favorite tracks off of this album. It starts with a kind of acoustic guitar sound and goes right into it. It's kind of bouncy. It's something I really enjoy. It's catchy. You can definitely keep going with it. The song So Beneath You is my favorite track off this album. It's probably one of my favorite AFI tracks, period. It's definitely got its foot in that whole hardcore punk scene. Don't mistake that for me saying it sounds like a hardcore punk song. It doesn't. It definitely is a more hard rock sound, but it's got that attitude, it's got that charisma. It's literally Davey Havok saying fuck you to God, and I love that. One of the lines, one of my favorite things is, I will not kneel, I will not bow. If you're there, God, strike me down, you won't. And that's just, I don't know, to me that's just such a great line in there. It's so pissed off. I love it. I really think they kind of got their attitude back with things. It's not so much poppy. It's kind of gotten a little bit away from that. There aren't really so many love songs in particular here. Well, there are some songs that definitely do deal with positive relationships and things. It's not quite as evident as it has been on other albums. Now, there are some interesting moments on this album. In the final track on here, "The Wind That Carries Me Away," it's kind of got this twanginess to it overall, and it's really interesting. It's not like anything we've ever heard from the band previously, and I really feel it's an improvement over anything that they've ever done. It is a nice and smooth song. It does work. Something I absolutely enjoyed. There's also something about the guitar work on this album. I think it's improved over Burials overall, first of all, but it kind of sounds like a lot of it was written during the Sing the Sorrow era, and I can't really explain exactly what I mean, but it feels like a lot of these songs could have been B-sides or would have been the next album after Sing the Sorrow instead of, say, December Underground, for instance. It really especially hits me with the song White Offerings, which kind of just, I don't know what it is, really kind of has that mark of Sing the Sorrow. And it's a great song. It's an aggressive song. You know, again, there's not really so much screaming, I would say, but definitely kind of kicks up the ante with that. There are some flaws with this album, I would say. There are some things I didn't like as much. Particularly, there's the song The Bridge, or Under the Bridge, and I didn't particularly like that track just because it repeats its title over the chorus over and over again, and it just kind of gets a little bit repetitive. There's some other songs on here that I just don't think that kind of hit as well. They're not necessarily bad songs, but they're songs I probably kind of skip through listens, and I probably wouldn't throw on my, as I was always talking about having it on my playlist in my car, probably wouldn't have some of these songs on here. But overall, the strengths far outweigh any of the flaws on this album. It's a strong album. They've really gotten themselves back into the game. I feel this is an album that's going to kind of resonate with a lot of people, not just AFI fans, but with people who like music and hard rock and alternative rock in general. I think that they've done a fantastic job kind of reaching into their past and bringing that back in a new and invigorating way. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and comment down below what did you think of this album. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more video reviews.